welcome to another installment of DeKalb Talks Tourism. We're excited today to have Vaughn Irons from Stonecrest, one of the newest cities in DeKalb County. Welcome, Vaughn.
Well, nice to see you, James, and thank you for having me.
Well, we're excited. Vaughn and I have known each other I've been here 13 years. I probably have been working with you for 11 or 12 of the 13 at least.
That's about right.
So I know you got a lot of great things going on in Stonecrest and different businesses you have. But first off, tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, again, I'm Vaughn Irons. I tell people like Iron Man because you have to have a thick skin in this business, and what better thick skin to have than iron?
I like that.
But I'm a resident of the city of Stonecrest. I've been a DeKalb County resident for 30 years, almost 30 years. Moved to DeKalb County in the early 90s. Love DeKalb County, love Stonecrest, what we've been able to build there. From a background standpoint, I've been trained and educated in commercial real estate, finance, and government, urban policy more specifically. And I've taken that and infused it into our real estate development and urban planning business, APD Solutions, and our subsidiary Stonecrest Resorts.
Now tell me, we were talking a long time ago. You graduated from Syracuse.
Yes.
Isn't there a famous breakfast person from there?
A famous breakfast
Like
person?
as in a syrup and pancake mix.
Oh, yes. So, interestingly so, the original Aunt Jemima actually started at the New York State Fair, which is based in Syracuse. And so she made pancake syrup and specialty pancakes. And then the company that owns it now actually acquired her likeness and the recipe from her, and that all started in Syracuse, New York.
So I think that's such a cool story. And later on, it can roll into what you'll talk about on the second floor at Privi. But
Sure.
tell us right now, you started Privi, and you can talk about where it is and all that. Tell us about the brainchild you have to create Privi. And what is Privi?
Well, so Privi is an adaptive reuse of the old Sears box at the mall at Stonecrest. And so as a developer, you have certain types of projects you want to do, right? So some want to do residential projects, others want to do office buildings, but I think industrial is really cool. And I've always wanted to do an industrial adaptive reuse project. And so department stores, contrary to popular belief, they're really just big warehouses. They have sales floors, but the majority of the space is holding washing machines and, electronics and other things like that,
Right.
clothing. And so what we've essentially done is taking the 144,000 square foot Sears box and converted it into a multi-tenant lifestyle center that our first phase of that was adding Sequest Interactive Aquarium, who's a tenant of ours. They lease about 25,000 square feet. We opened them in 2021. Apologize. The years just start blurring by.
Definitely.
But we opened Sequest Interactive Aquarium in 2021, just after the COVID year, because we wanted to show the community that investment was coming back to Stonecrest right away, and we were going to bring new experiential things, which is essentially the theme of Privi. Privi it's short for privilege, and what we're attempting to do in a lifestyle center is to give our guests a privileged experience because they can do things in a suburban environment that you usually have to go in town to an urban location to have. So the second phase of Privi has some unique things. One component focuses on creative interest, and the other focuses on health and wellness. So you have a bookstore that does new and used books, and then you can come in and trade books for credit and get additional books. We have Dope Coffee as a tenant.
I was going to say, that's the most important thing.
Well, I tell people I don't drink coffee, but when Dope Coffee came to get samples, I really liked it. And,
Yes.
they're a Stonecrest headquartered based business. And so that was great having them with a retail location in Privi. We have a an art gallery, Privi
Mhm.
Art Gallery, which is curated by Cecil Bernard, and so our art gallery only sells original works of art, and it concentrates on half local artists in Atlanta, but also artists internationally as well. So it always has a very unique flavor, and so everything in Privi Art Gallery is for sale, and they spend a lot of time teaching customers and patrons the culture of collecting. People think art galleries are just for viewing, but they are assets if you purchase them and then you're taught how to set them up for being appraised and insured and things of that nature. And so
Oh, nice.
they teach people about not just art, but the culture of collecting at Privi Art Gallery. We have a co-working space on the creative side that focuses on creatives, and it also includes a podcast studio. It includes an internet radio station where they teach people radio science. They have classes to teach you to be an on-air personality or to teach you the engineering side of the business. And then there's a tenant there called Beats and Books that does music industry education. They certify in Pro Tools. They teach people music editing, how to put their packages together. And in fact, this weekend, they're doing an internship fair where we have 20 music industry
Wow.
companies coming to Privi in order to meet with young people and find interns for the business. That's just the creative side of phase 2 of Privi.
I met him last night at the marketing grand
Oh,
exposition or whatever you want to call it.
Tory Best, you met him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very nice man.
They have a phenomenal business, just like all of the other tenants. 101 TKO. The podcast team is being led by Stonecrest Podcast, so we're really excited about them coming on board. But on the health and wellness side, we have Hand and Stone, massages and facials. They'll be preparing to open in December. We also have 3 Degrees infrared sauna.
That's very cool. I saw that, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people know saunas, but they don't know infrared saunas. And so it's kind of a 2-person sauna suite. One person obviously can use it, and you sit for 40 minutes in 158-degree temperature. It burns 650 calories in that 40 minutes, and it raises your body temperature by 3 degrees.
So can I sit in it for like 8 hours a day? Get that weight loss?
Well, you can chop it up. You
Yeah.
can do 40 minutes and then take a break and then come back. But the great thing about it is the health benefits
Right.
of being in the sauna. And as my grandmother used to say, if you're not feeling perfect, you just wrap yourself up and sweat it out. And
Yeah.
so that's what 3 Degrees helps do.
Yeah,
on
that's
the
definitely
cellular
the old timers' way of solving things.
Well,
And
when
it worked.
when you really think about it, what our grandparents told us to do, a lot of it worked. And if we went back to it, we probably would be healthier and happier.
And my dad's other solution was whiskey. Take a shot of whiskey if you're not feeling good.
Yeah, just a shot, not
Yeah,
two.
just a shot, not a bottle, a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but also we have a mixed martial arts gym.
Yes, that's very cool.
There on the health and wellness side. There's a juice bar that does smoothies, juices, and they do non-meat tacos, nachos, pizzas, things of that nature. They use walnut meat and they use shrimp and other.
Yeah, the walnut meat last night was an interesting thing. I read walnut, didn't get the fact it was considered walnut meat. So that was a new one on me.
Well, think of all the people who are vegan or
Yeah.
alternative eating. And so many of the other businesses in and around Stonecrest primarily cater to a typical American palate.
Right.
More meat, please. And so what Garden Life does is it provides food that has the same taste, the same quality as meat, but it's using alternative sources for the meat protein content.
Monica, you had walnut meat?
No, never.
Monica's vegetarian, so it's like, you need to try walnut meat over there.
Yeah. Well, we'll love to have Monica back now that Garden Life is up and running. And,
Yes.
I will personally buy Monica a walnut meat taco.
See, there you go. You got to take advantage of it.
And then also on that floor is Picasso's Splat Room. So we have
Mm.
a multimedia art studio where people come in, they buy a smock, they buy a canvas, and they throw paint. And so it's got therapeutic experiences for people, but also it's a great learning experience for children.
Very cool place. I thought that was a neat place to go for the art side, or just just the physical part of throwing. It's, instead of beating a car or whatever those other therapies are,
Yes.
throw paint.
Well, we don't have enough room for that uh, throw bricks through windows
Yeah.
therapy that's out there. But one of the things that's nice about what we've added thus far on the lower level of the former Sears in Privi is it's directly connected to the mall, and so people are surprised often when they're in the building and then they turn the corner and they say, "Oh, the mall's right there, Macy's is right there, Foot Locker is right there." And so the connectivity allows people to access these lifestyle components,
Right.
and then quickly go run and grab a shirt or a sweater or shoestrings or whatever they need out of the mall.
Well, let's switch gears and come back to the second floor. So
Okay.
don't let me forget the second floor.
Sure.
What big event do you have coming on that we just had a big announcement for last night?
Sure. Fantastic. We are extremely excited. Hip Hop Hall of Fame has decided that they're going to do a 50th anniversary of hip hop weekend festival. Oh, I was going to say, do you win a special prize by saying
What do we win
weekend?
for that, Monica?
So Hip Hop Hall of Fame.
Oh, you won a free coffee mug that you don't drink coffee from.
But I can always put tea in there.
Yes.
So what we're really excited about is Hip Hop Hall of Fame from New York City. They're working on building the new Hip Hop Hall of Fame museum complex there in Manhattan. It should be open in, I believe, 2027.
Okay.
But they have decided that they're going to have a Hip Hop Hall of Fame West in Los Angeles and a Hip Hop Hall of Fame South in Atlanta. And so, as a part of that, they've decided to start introducing a weekend to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. And they selected Stonecrest to be the host location for the weekend festival. So it's 3 days of various different types of events. Half of them are free and half of them have a fee. And so they're doing some unique things. So the first event on Friday, the 17th of November, is a State of Hip Hop Symposium. And they have some fantastic artists that are going to come in order to share their experience, their history of hip hop and things of that nature, as well as industry people and personnel being on panels and networking as well. So, for example, Raheem the Dream, Atlanta's own Raheem the Dream, is going to be on the panel. So for those who are hip hop fans, being able to access one of the pioneers is going to be great. We'll also have Positive K from I Got a Man fame for people who know the records. He's going to be on the panel as well. One of my good friends, Chub Rock, is going to be on the panel speaking about that history of the classic hip hop time in the '80s, and then you're also going to have some DJs. So Soul Brother Tabone, who's an Atlanta DJ, a FAMU grad who moved here in 1991 and was able to see the entire hip hop movement. He's going to talk about the influence of soul music on the impact of Atlanta being now considered the hip hop capital. So that's one component that's completely free from 9 to 3. The State of Hip Hop Symposium starts off the weekend. Then that evening, there will be a sneaker ball, a 50th anniversary of hip hop sneaker ball.
So black tie with sneakers.
Black tie, ball gown with your best sneakers.
Most comfortable event you have in your tux.
Well, think of it this way. You're all tight in your tuxedo or your ball gown, but your feet feel fabulous. And so hip hop is about culture and fashion, not just about the music. And so the sneaker ball gives an opportunity for people to come visit and express themselves. So there are going to be some live performances at the sneaker ball. So we have the East Side Boys, Atlanta's own East Side Boys, are going to perform live at the Sneaker Ball, and then we also have the pioneers of hip hop, the Sugar Hill Gang, is
Mm.
going to come perform live at the Sneaker Ball. And then in addition, Hip Hop Hall of Fame will be handing out some Legends and Icon awards at the Sneaker Ball in order to have that, premium experience, that that privileged experience for people to celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip hop. All of that, those two events in one day, one free, one for a fee.
So if our listeners want to go to the ball with their favorite tennis shoes, how do they get tickets for that?
They just go to privystonecrest.com under the events tab, and it'll have all of the RSVP or ticketing information for each event. So, for example, the State of Hip Hop Symposium, although there's no fee, you still have to register. They'll be able to go there, and then they can purchase tickets for the sneaker ball right there on the website, privystonecrest.com.
Monica, can you pop up the flyer we have? So are you still, we were talking, you were going to have a battle of North versus South hip hop DJs. Is that still going on?
Yes. So on the second day, Saturday, the 18th of November, it's going to be a jam-packed day because we're going to have a free concert, block party style, in the mall on the 18th. And so that's going to be between noon and 6. And so there's going to be some fantastic talent there, local Atlanta talent and New York talent. Kilo Ali is going to perform, Atlanta's own Kilo Ali. Pastor Troy, which is a fan favorite, has a big fan base here in Atlanta, is going to be there for free. So Kilo and Pastor Troy will be starting out the performances.
Why do I know Pastor Troy?
Pastor Troy has been around in Atlanta a long time. He's a big Falcons fan, but he's also very active in the community, and so you probably come across him in his community work.
Probably so, because I know that name is very familiar to me.
Yeah. Well, and then, of course, we're a big religious community, so there are a lot of pastors in Atlanta, but Pastor Troy isn't actually a reverend from a
That's
church.
what I was kind of wondering, if he was that. So that, you say, is inside the mall, not inside Privi.
Right. Well, it's in Privi Court. So inside of the mall, each of the courtyards in front of the department stores is named after that department store. So we're going to have that right in the mall side in front of Privi in Privi Court.
Okay. So you get the best of both worlds again then.
Right. Well, we also want people to know where all of the entrances to Privi happen to be. And so by having a free concert in the front on the mall side, we do a couple of things. People get introduced to Privi's mall entrance, but they also get to patronize all of the wonderful businesses at the Mall of Stonecrest, who, as contrary to popular belief, is 95% occupied and thriving and doing very well.
Yeah, Stonecrest Mall is just, it's amazing how many people's there, how many stores that you still have that so many other places don't have, and they're thriving with your mall.
Right. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is our foot traffic at the Mall of Stonecrest is higher now than pre-COVID. We were averaging about 9 million visitors a year before COVID in 2019. We're averaging about 11 million visitors a year now.
11 million is nothing to be sneezing about.
Yeah. I wish we could charge people for that. That 11 million would turn into a good income.
Well, what's so great, I think, is you have the mall entrance, but when you come in from the parking lot side, you don't really know you're at the mall. So if somebody goes, well, Privi at the mall, well, no, you are very, lack of a better word, isolated into this very boutique experience. But then you have the entrance to the mall, which is just the mall experience. So you got, again, the best of both worlds.
Yeah, we were very intentional about our design aesthetic, which is industrial chic, which is not typically what you see inside of a mall setting. So we have the iron doors and windows, and there's a lot of muralization. Art on the wall is infused, so it feels very urban compared to a mall setting that has a suburban look and feel. And so, again, we were very intentional about making sure that when people come into Privi, that they feel that they're by themselves, but not alone.
Right. So that was Saturday. So you have an event later that night, or did we talk about all of Saturday?
Well, also in addition to Kilo Ali and Pastor Troy on Saturday, because that gives you the heart of some of Atlanta hip hop, we have some great New York City icons. And
Okay.
so Chubb Rock is going to perform live as well as host the free concert on Saturday. And the headliner on Saturday is Nice and Smooth. For those that love classic hip hop or were in college in the early 90s like I was, they will love the fact that Nice and Smooth is going to be right here in Stonecrest performing at the mall at Stonecrest in front of Privi.
Nice. And that's all day between 12 and 6.
12 and 6, free concert in the mall. Hopefully, it gets people out pre Christmas. It's the weekend before
True.
Thanksgiving. And so, before the holiday shopping gets started, it gets people infused right into the mall.
Well, shop the week before Black Friday and get it done early.
Right. Well, someone said before, you think Black Friday says this is the only time that there's sales, but
Right.
every month there's a Black Friday.
True.
So, but later that night on the 18th, that's when we're having the Versus after party. And so, what's interesting about that, during COVID, a lot of people followed the Versus battles online where they
Right.
would have one artist versus another artist. What's interesting for the after party, it will happen at Privi in the Event Center, is there's going to be a Versus DJ battle where DJ Jelly from V103 is going to represent the South. And then he's going to be battling against Cool DJ Red Alert, who will be representing the North. And so each of them will exclusively play Southern hip hop or Northern hip hop in different battling sets in order for people to see what side they
I
represent.
think the Southern hip hop is going to win.
Well, they have an advantage with being in
Everybody
Atlanta,
there.
right? But you'd be surprised. Most of us grew up, hip hop started in New York City, so
Okay.
a lot of the older records everybody knows. But Southern hip hop, Atlanta is now the capital of hip hop. And as a matter of fact, one of the reasons that Atlanta is really run by creatives is because of the music industry and the film industry presence, and that kind of comes down to Atlanta being the source of a great farm industry for hip hop now.
So we finished out Saturday. Looks like you got some very cool events on Sunday.
Well, on Sunday, most people love a great brunch on Sunday.
Oh, yes.
Atlanta Breakfast Club is coming out in order to do a beats and brunch at Privi. And so for people who love Atlanta Breakfast Club, right behind the Georgia Aquarium, but you could come to Privi and you won't have a 2 or 3 hour wait as they typically do on a Saturday or Sunday downtown.
So I tell you, anything, I think that's the conclusion of Sunday. So let's go back and use the Atlanta Breakfast Club as our transition to the second floor because I am waiting for that place to open.
Well, at Privi, what we're working on now is bringing another signature destination attraction to Stonecrest. So we already have a food court at Stonecrest, and most of that is, fast food, your Chick-fil-A's and things of that nature, your Subways. You walk up, you get a sandwich, and then you sit down. We're building a 70,000 square foot, one of a kind food hall. So when people say, well, what's the difference between a food hall and a food court? A food hall, so some of the food halls, Chattahoochee Food Works, Krog Street Market, Pont City Market, those are food halls.
Yeah.
And then a food court when you see them in the mall. And so food halls are more social. They have sit-down restaurants as well as stalls. They have beer, wine, and spirits available inside of a food hall, where most food courts, and typically all of them, you don't have alcohol sales in food courts. And so our food court is going to continue to thrive as it exists because the price point and the type of food, we're not competing with that, but we're adding this 70,000 square foot food hall. And one of the anchor restaurants is going to be Atlanta Breakfast Club, which will be opening their second location. So downtown Atlanta and Stonecrest, you'll have Atlanta Breakfast Club. You'll also have restaurants such as Original Hot Dog Factory
Mm.
that'll be out at Stonecrest in the food hall as well. And then there are a couple of unique chef driven concepts where there's going to be a great karaoke bar there. You'll have a barbecue restaurant that's also a comedy club called
Oh.
Ribbon. So for people who like ribs and for older people who know how to give someone a jab, and we used to rib on each other,
Hmm.
it's a nice combination there. There'll be a vegan restaurant there, a daiquiri bar, a pasta bar, a sushi
There you go.
area.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There'll be another Dope Coffee is doing an entire coffee experience on the upper level because they have a coffee shop downstairs, but upstairs it's going to be this entire educational experience related to coffee, all the way down to the bean.
Yes.
And so, it's going to be a very experiential concept. There'll be a craft bar up there. We're adding a history museum up top as well to complement Sequest being on the lower level. So the history museum is directly above Sequest. So we're really excited about the food hall because if people love health and wellness and creativity, the one thing is everybody eats
Right.
every day. So, uh, Atlanta Breakfast Club coming to the mall at Stonecrest adds another opportunity for people to come out early in the morning, have breakfast, coffee. They can get their shrimp and grits or their chicken and waffles, and then actually Breakfast Club does lobster
Oh,
tails and waffles, which is
yeah,
pretty
that's interesting.
interesting. And so people will be able to come out in the morning and eat that at the food hall, and then they can stay late night because there'll be a fine dining restaurant similar to Gun Show called Foreign Exchange there, and just a plethora of options. 13 restaurants and 7 bars in Privy Food Hall, which we started construction in May, and we're hoping to be open in second quarter of 2024.
So we have we've got quite a few months, but it's going to go fast to be able to enjoy all that.
Right.
So,
Hopefully what happens is when it opens, it helps us not just get local residents to
right.
stay home more, because one of the statistics that people don't realize is the residents of the city of Stonecrest spend $880 million on food, beverage, and retail outside of DeKalb County. We need things like what we're doing at Privi to get the residents to spend their money at home and generate more tax dollars. But what that's also going to do is to draw more tourism, because people want to go to cool places. And if
Right.
our dream for Stonecrest, when I'm talking to the mayor and other business owners, is that Stonecrest becomes one of those top 5 places when people come to visit Atlanta. In 5 or 10 years, we want people to say, well, I have to go to Stone Mountain. I have to go see Martin Luther King. I want to go downtown to the aquarium.
Right.
I need to go to Stonecrest. And frankly, what I heard recently is Stonecrest has the most attractions of any community in all of Metro Atlanta, with the exception of downtown Atlanta.
Right. You've got some great attractions, but it's looking at all the things you have on the list that you'll be announcing as they occur. But all the ones you have on the list is just making Stonecrest a phenomenal place.
Well, and imagine the ability to live there and have all the fantastic trails, and Arabia Mountain is already
Oh
there,
yeah.
Flat Rock Archives, and the things that we get to take advantage of and some people take for granted. But I think tourists will come for the recreational tourism. They'll come for the agritourism because the winery that's in
Yeah.
Stonecrest now, and that complements all of these other things that we're doing at the mall as well.
I just learned last night at your event that there's a distillery in Stonecrest on
Uh,
the weekends, I believe.
a lot of things happening out there. And so the cool thing is it's happening organically.
Hmm.
The government didn't come in and say, hey, everybody, come to Stonecrest and do these things. You have entrepreneurs like myself and my wife, and, we're doing our thing. And you have other businesses that are there, and, pillar attractions like Arabia Mountain, and the mall is there to draw people from throughout the region. And so now you're getting all of these other cool things that people can do. And we're looking to tie those together with walking trails and other transportation mechanisms. So you can walk from Arabia Mountain to the mall or to the distillery or to the winery or to the kayaking.
Yes,
That
on
we're
South River. Yeah.
so, a lot of people think of Stonecrest the way it was 10 or 15 years ago. And I tell people all the time, we're not building the Stonecrest of 2003.
All right.
We're working on the Stonecrest of 2033.
Definitely. Now, we've talked leisure very heavily, and let's switch into another part of tourism, but is meetings and reunions with your facilities that you have right there to do all kinds of types of meetings.
Sure. So Privi Event Center, we took a part of the Sears building and added a 5,200 square foot meeting facility. And so we've been very fortunate to start to attract corporate meetings as well as weddings, family reunions. We actually just booked a big family reunion for next summer,
Nice.
2024. Really excited about that. We have a wedding reception that's coming up in December. Every weekend is booked in December for holiday events and Christmas parties. But what was happening to Stonecrest is we didn't have meeting space, despite the fact that we have hotel rooms. There's no
Right.
place for people to meet. And so to combine our meeting space with the ability to stay overnight is fantastic. So some of the events of note that we've had, Wyndham had the La Quinta board meeting out at Stonecrest.
That's a super high end event.
Yep, that was great, and it gave people exposure to the market. NAACP had last year's Freedom Fund out at Privi Event Center. Alpha Kappa Alpha held their leadership conference at Stonecrest at Privi Event Center. 100 Black Men held their monthly board meeting at Stonecrest. So there are a lot of big organizations, and also Rotary of South DeKalb actually has made Privi Stonecrest their home, and they meet there regularly. So our ability to attract meetings and to support the hotels is fantastic. But we're also adding a new hotel to the mall at Stonecrest, which is a Wyndham Trip, TRYP, which is a boutique brand. And the Trip will have 8,500 square feet of meeting space as well on the lower level. And the Trip is going to be the first full service hotel in the city of Stonecrest. So we'll have room service. It'll have a lobby bistro, swimming pool, things of that nature. And so I think what the message we're trying to send is, don't view Stonecrest as the Stonecrest of the past. Think of Stonecrest where we're going as the Stonecrest of the future.
Well, think about it from the meeting world. You have the full service hotel with 8,000 plus square feet of meeting space. Tie it into the Privi's meeting facilities, tie it into the attraction, and tie it into all the food venues on the second floor, not counting the food court. That makes a great place for board meetings, conferences, reunions with the magnitude of the space. But, we need to talk about a very special recognition when the Wyndham CEO was at Privi.
Yeah, sometimes, James, I kind of forget because it's all a blur.
It's special to me.
Well, Jeff Bellotti, CEO of Wyndham, actually came to Privi Stonecrest last November in order to give us our award of the Wyndham Trip. And so my wife and I, Cassandra, became the first members of the Wyndham Bold Initiative. And so that stands for Black Ownership and Lodging Developers. And so Wyndham really, post-COVID, wanted to invest in creating more African American hotel ownership. And so by comparison, African American hotel ownership is about 2%
Right.
of what it is in the United States, and African Americans are almost 14% of the population, 13 and a half. And so Wyndham has made a concerted effort in order to build a new portal for African Americans who want to become hotel owners, more, hotel management as well, operators and things of that nature. And so we happen to be Bold members number one. And he
Right.
came down personally, as well as the entire executive committee of Wyndham. So chief, the legal team, Paul Cash was here, and the marketing team, and everybody came down to award us a Bold plaque for starting their program. And since we started that program last year, Wyndham has a pipeline of over 50 new African American hotel owners moving through, committed, and paying for their hotel
So that's
stay.
wonderful. And one of the things too is when the Hunter Hotel Conference was here this past summer, the Wyndham CEO was the guest lecturer for the final concluding lunch, and your picture was up at the Hunter Hotel Conference, right in the center of the other new Bold members that have been added. So I think that's very cool. I think the people need to know we have two rock stars. So we have you, and we also have Vaughn opening up, female African American opening up hotels. So she's one of the other rock stars for the hospitality industry.
So Devon actually sat next to me when we had the focus groups of Wyndham. But if you notice, James, there's something in common. Vaughn and Devon,
Oh, that's
they're two
true.
rock stars,
Two rock stars have the same concept,
yeah. So
and they're both right here in Atlanta. I saw Devon last week at a Georgia State 50th anniversary event. So
yeah, so she's fantastic. She's actually more of a rock star than me. I'm kind of an opening act, but she's like fantastic. What she's doing for the hotel industry, she's out there educating people.
yes.
I'm glad that I can consider her a friend, and I root for her every day.
Well, having both of y'all is awesome for us. Having you, the first Bold owner, is awesome. We cannot wait for the boutique trip to come open. So all that is great. So we're about to close. Is there any last minute ideas or stories? And then I want to close with actually just a real quick wrap up of the hip hop event coming on.
Sure. I think what I would share with people is, Stonecrest is having a renaissance, right? You don't always see it, and what I tell people is, by the time you see a development or activity in the newspaper,
Right.
it's been in the works for years, and so I don't want folks to think of Stonecrest the way it was. I want them to just continue to think of it the way that it's going to be, and root for us. Come out and check out Stonecrest. Check out the mall. Check out the attractions. Fantastic people live in our community, and we'd love to have you. Our customer service is working, improving. The Privi customer service is fantastic. We're working with the other businesses in the area to improve by adding more labor. And so it's a great place to be. We want to have you check out privystonecrest.com and get all the information, get signed up on our mailing list, find out about shows and concerts and other things that we're doing. This year we had Raheem Devon performing live at Privi Stonecrest, and other fantastic things that are happening and coming up.
Well, plus you have the openings of the different art of your different artists and in the studio, so that goes on throughout the year.
Yeah, so we turn over the art exhibit every 4 months or so, and so we do a new introduction of the artists there, and we also do film screenings. So, for example, next week we're going to have Damon Dash out at Privy Stonecrest. He's going to be rolling out his new documentary on him, and he'll be there personally
Oh,
answering
nice.
questions. So a number of things like that happen at Privy all the time, and so again, it's about lifestyle. We want people to feel that the things that they enjoy, the businesses and the brands that they support, are accessible to them without them having to go downtown or get caught in traffic.
Well, just kind of a quick in a nutshell, the big event that you have with hip hop. Kind of tell us about that, and then we can close.
Sure. Well, November 17th, 18th, and 19th, 50th anniversary of Hip Hop Icons and Legends Weekend, sponsored by Hip Hop Hall of Fame. Choice Hotels, Discovered the Cave, the City of Stonecrest Office of the Mayor, all helping pull this together with community organizations. 3 days of events, a State of Hip Hop Symposium, Sneaker Ball, free concert, versus after party, and a
Yeah.
beats and brunch breakfast. I mean, 5 great things, half of them for free. We want you to come out, privystonecrest.com, and follow us, hashtag PrivyStonecrest as well. And so, the weekend is going to be phenomenal.
Well, with that, it's a great close for our show. Vaughn, thank you for being on. We'll have to bring you on as you start opening more and more and more. So you'll be a frequent guest in the future.
Yep.
So thank you very much. Thank you all for tuning in. See you at the next show.